Andy talks with a contrarian about starting his side hustle in local lead gen. Is amazed it's so simple. No building fancy landing pages. No building directories. I facepalm about people building stuff, directories, social networks, etc., when they're just trying to connect people. About 30 minutes in talks about how he's read the first 5 chapters of his new book, and how it's inspired him to finally just take some action and build something that he owns. Thanks for having me, Andy, it was a pleasure. And thanks again for the inspiration on the local lead gen model. Yes, I've been playing at the fast lane for the past 15 months within a structure in which I don't yet have any ownership and will never fully control, within a very complicated, labor-intensive business model with lots of moving parts that's difficult to scale. Because it was the deceptively easy choice of what I already knew how to do, working with people I've already worked with. I don't regret it as I've learned a huge amount and made a lot of great contacts. But one day recently I woke up and realized that I was pushing a boulder up the wrong mountain. I'll do a detailed write-up soon of what I've been doing all this time and the lessons I've learned along the way. In the meantime, forget the grand plans and just build something. My cliff notes. Look for the opposite of red flags. Our focus should be on qualifying clients, but of course using disqualifying is a tool for just that. It's the end client that pays us through our client. So that's the one we need to keep happy. And we also want to estimate whether our client will be happy to keep their clients happy. Smaller recurring fee makes it easier to sign up clients than a big upfront fee, and it makes it easier for them to see positive ROI sooner, if not even right away, a great incentive for them to stay signed up. Fixed fee helps both sides plan their cash flow and optimize their processes to become more profitable. A great type of cold call is when you have something they already want, and call them for exactly the reason they put their phone number out. Your beautiful website may actually deter some people from calling you. Sometimes ugly is the way to go. Thanks for listening and writing up your takeaways. I love seeing what people take away from these calls. Listened to this last night while driving in the car, really enjoyed it. Thank you, and call business owners with a present for them. Instead of trying to sign them up for directories, you actually give them a little taste of what is to come. Question for you guys. Do you give that first lead away for free? Has it happened to you that they didn't come back and ran off with the lead without paying you? How do you follow up? Great lesson. Big reminder for us all to stop efforting around and produce more. Launch a basic version, buy data and improve upon your benchmark. No need to polish everything for months before launching it. I am in a similar situation like Andy. I am working from home, without any commute. I save money on food, choose my breaks wisely and fill them up with things that really push me forward in terms of productivity. No social mingling, no happy birthday lunches with the colleagues and no BS. My friends, the ones that finally got what I am doing, don't get how I can isolate myself so much. I have a friend who recently quit his job and rented a shared office, because he needs it to be productive. Because he gets depressed at home. No income, but already around $500 down the drain before lifting a finger each month. Guys, we live our dream. And every day we don't realize it, is lost. Work hard, but also realize that life is happening now. People spend nights collecting rewards and earning money in games. We spend nights collecting the same in reality. Make it a game. Make it your game. Thanks for sharing, guys. Thanks for the write-up. This accidentally turning into a great way to get show notes. Get other people to write up their takeaways. Yep. Give the lead away for free. say you'll ring back to find out how they got on. If they take the lead and can't be contacted again, then move on. They don't see the value in what you're offering them. Sales is a screening process. I think I mentioned a bit more about how to speak to people, and the script started working for me that I've not really followed up on but makes sense anyway. In this call, I find other people's takeaways can make me understand things I might not take in otherwise, adding value. Definitely. As mentioned, it is great to read other people's notes. We are all tuned into slightly different things, so we each pick up on things that others might not even hear. Reading different views always helps me challenge my own beliefs and look for different angles. Thanks for clarifying. Oh yes, sales definitely is a screening process. It took me a long time to understand, but you don't want just any sale. You want the right sale. This also means leaving some money on the street, which I needed to get comfortable with at first. I have to listen to this talk again, I might have missed this. Thanks for the link. 100% agreed. Curious to read your thoughts. Actually, I haven't listened to this one yet, setting up some manual tasks to do while I listen. Listened to this one on my way home from work yesterday. I was pleasantly surprised. Thank you plus rep. Thanks for the rep. Gosh, now you have me curious. What were you surprised about? The topics were focused and you guys talked about local lead gen at a high level. Great value in this one. Glad you enjoyed it. I did make a few calls before I built anything, but more to suss out the economics of it than anything else. How much is a new client worth to you? How do you currently generate leads? How much does that cost? Etc. And how does that stack up against my cost to generate the lead? The most receptive of those, I told him I'd be back in touch when I had a lead for him and that I'd give it to him free of charge, as it's also a learning experience for me too. 2 weeks later, I got the first lead through, called her up, clarified what she wanted and the time scale, then told her to expect a call from my contact. Passed it on, and he called me back to inform me that he'd done the work and made £85. What's interesting to note is that he also told me he gets tons of calls from people offering internet advertising, digital marketing, SEO, help for your website, and so on, and gets rid of them all. Moral of the story: focus on helping people get the results they want, not on telling them your credentials and expertise, and hoping they'll connect the dots and be impressed they won't be. This hasn't been a revelation for me, since I've worked in sales of one kind or another for 12 years now. What's been my revelation is how easy it can be when you stop trying to push boulders up mountains. Why continue running on the treadmill selling highly complex services to highly complex companies who can't even agree on anything amongst themselves, against hundreds of other companies that sell similar services? Why not take a fraction of the same skill and leverage it into a scalable platform to solve common sense problems at scale? What I learned from this? Exactly. Yup. I've been working from home for 2 years now, and for the first few months it was a struggle. I'm an extrovert, but I've learned to be content with my own company. Such is the price of freedom. As I mentioned on the call, I recently resigned my position in the recruiting business I co-founded. Path did not converge with Dream. I've taken a commission-only sales position serving the same industry with one of the contacts I made in the process. Step down, you would think? I'm sure it will look like that on my LinkedIn profile, or by the standards of society, but I sure don't see it that way. Self-employed with a contract for services only, so I haven't sold my soul or my freedom. Work from wherever I want, on my schedule, and scale back or quit whenever it suits me. Supports, but doesn't interfere with, my own business. And I'm looking forward to the work without seeing it as the end goal in itself. I couldn't even imagine ever being chained to an office, or signing a contract of employment again. Both deals with the devil. Perhaps your friend would find the same, if he could embrace the suck and power through those first few months at home. Hey Andy, biggest takeaway for me was how important it is to stick to one thing. I've been bouncing around all over the place trying different things after reading the majority of the gold posts on here and trying to see what I want to pursue. I've been struggling finding one thing, but I liked that you focused on just taking any action to get the wheel turning. Thanks as always. Okay, listen to it. My own spin on the takeaways I got from this recording. You point out a few times that you don't like using but. What about trying yes, and? In most of the same places? A basic tenet in improv comedy, it leaves the conversation or exchange more open to possibility. Also, I'm sure you've figured out that a green flag is the opposite of a red flag. OMG. A green flag. Facepalm, great tip on yes, and. I even wrote a thread on it and can't get that blasted but out of my language. Great write-up, especially the bit about games. Just turn the game on and you'll get hooked. Rep plus thanks. We've all been there. Doing something suboptimal is better than doing nothing. It's easier to adjust when you already have something in motion. The company I'll be doing sales for started as a hobby blog. It's now a 7-figure B2B content marketing and native advertising company. Now they're also moving into live events. The founder had absolutely no idea, or vision towards, what it would become when he started it. He just wanted to write useful stuff. I think it's a pretty awesome demonstration of the value of just sure. WordPress would be optimal, no doubt about it. I've used beautiful, all singing, all dancing WP-powered landing pages for the recruiting business, in which case they were necessary. But we hired a developer to build the site and set all that up. No sense in doing that here, yet. Can always learn how to or pay someone to build a replacement WordPress site if it makes sense down the line. I have to thank again for highlighting the power and simplicity of this business model. Doing it through the centralized site model also unleashes the power of. I forgot to mention it on the call, but I tell you what else was motivating, browsing the listings on Empire Flippers. Sites typically sell for 20-30x monthly profits. So, with monthly profits of just $20,000, you can sell the site for perhaps $600,000. That's not enough to be a millionaire. Not enough to buy a Lambo if you value your financial freedom, at least. But enough to retire in a cheap country until you get bored of it, do all those things you always wanted to do, and then provide the capital and a very long runway to focus 100% on building something bigger and better without having to worry about making ends meet or getting a job ever again. I just booked a one-way ticket to Malta. Perfect climate, effective 5% tax rate and no capital gains tax. So begins the 3-year plan, how to be different in 5 easy steps. Once you run your own business, you will quickly understand a couple of things. I used to take it as a bad sign or rudeness when bosses were extremely short on the phone. Now that I am an operator myself, I don't even read sales emails I get if the first 5 words of the subject line don't convince me. I used to work for a high-end digital agency. We used to effort CK around for weeks with details that might get us awards. Well, actually get the clients awards. I disagreed at a certain point and thought I could use resources much better myself. So I quit my job and started a business. You just have to be no better than the guy who is hiring you, and the money comes in. Keep it simple, act fast, always move and improve while on the run. I had a similar experience on the weekend. My Facebook feed is filled with Rolexes, big Audis, mortgage announcements and engagement rings with stones as big as my index finger's nail. If you compare the numbers, I come out at the short end. For now. I know I am investing in something bigger than I can imagine at the moment. It will all come back and more. Once you decided to let go, half the battle is won. Not everything is sunshine. What are you willing to suffer for? Stick to one thing, and one thing only. Everything else dilutes your result. This is the one thing I'd tell someone starting out, apart from go do something. It is life-changing if it buys you freedom from being stuck in cubicle nation. It is life-changing if it buys you energy and motivation to use your own brain, to see beyond. It is life-changing if you can go grocery shopping on a Monday at 11 a.m. and still be able to pay your bills at the end of the month. Think about it as your efforts CKU fund. Happy Monday everybody. Ah yes. Trinkets over results. Been there. That's a great sentence of condensed wisdom right there. One thing only. Yep, would definitely have helped big time to keep that in mind in my last business. Happy Monday indeed. Really loved this talk, had to listen to it twice yesterday. Probably going to give it another run today. The idea of making AdWords and lead gen into a game was so appealing to me. My inner nerd perked up a bit. Now I'm double intrigued on how to run the best campaign possible. What will you do to turn your double intrigue into double action? This was a great interview. Thanks for messaging me when I followed you. You put me onto this interview, and I think it will be a great compliment to what I'm doing now, getting leads for local businesses. You make AdWords seem easy, and although I know it's not easy, it now seems like an attainable skill. Hey mate, not sure how far along you are in your business yet, but from one forum member and one lead gen guy to another, hello. Seriously? Buy Andy's course. Well, luckily the course is 10% off. Take $60 and sign up for the insiders part of the forum and talk about content. You should see some of the talks we have in here about lead gen alone. Andy gives discounts to insiders, making his course only $299. Congrats, you just surrounded yourself with some brilliant entrepreneurs, got a kickstart to AdWords, and saved $40 in the process. If you're still worried about price, think of it like this. The barrier to entry in lead gen is knowledge. Any guy lounging around in his undies can create an account and have an ad running in just a few minutes, and he shows you how to make ads that get results. The day after I finish his course, I'm hopping on the phone and sending leads to people all around Texas. If you're like me and you need a little time to scrape the cash together, go ahead and read through his post history. Yes, the whole thing. You'll eat up everything you find. Cheers man. Adieu. Thanks and for the talk. Here are my takeaways. Yes. Keep it simple, and help people instead of building stuff. This may be a low-tech question, but you mention in the podcast that you should have the client pay for the AdWords spendings. How to practically do that? Do you register a brand new AdWords account with their information etc., or can you use your own account in some way? As it may tell from my question, I'm not really that experienced using AdWords. The few attempts on creating a local lead gen service were made using organic traffic, but I really like the idea of using AdWords instead. Best regards, and great work. The client can add their billing details into the Google Ads account and pay the bill directly to Google. You or the client may own the Google Ads account. Alternatively, you can pay the Google Ads bill and charge it to the client, one way or another. Thanks a bunch. I like the former method the most, I think, at least until the business and trust or partnership becomes stable. I actually went straight ahead and bought a domain and started setting up a landing page last night. This was also inspired by in which you talk about 2 columns landing pages, company name and bullet points etc. On the left side, phone number and contact form on the right side. What about the very first leads or initial cold calling the client? I mean, it would be nice to pick up the phone and actually be able to deliver a handful of ready leads to the client instead of having to convince him that they will come as soon as he starts paying. But that would mean that I'd have to pay for the AdWords myself in the beginning. And don't get me wrong, I wouldn't mind paying for that at all, I'm just wondering if I'm missing something here, at which came first, the chicken or the hen kinda thing. In your other thread that I mentioned earlier, you talk about adding a headline with the company name. Given the fact that this site that I created is meant for generating leads not to my own company but to a client's, should I then be entering the client's actual company name or my own fictional one? For now I just entered, for example, Dublin Carpenter Service, but I'm thinking that potential leads will be confused when they see that. Call the number in the right column and are greeted with a hello. This is Jack from Dublin Building Incorporated whatever. How to go about this? I know these are small details and I'm making sure they're not restraining me, but I got curious anyway. Again, thanks so much for the great content of posts and podcasts. For mobile we just do single column. Mobile is much easier to design. Make sure it runs fast. You can then start with mobile-only Google Ads campaigns while you're creating a desktop site. For one plumber client we're only running mobile campaigns. Mostly we get clients via inbound word-of-mouth referrals. I'd start by leveraging your network. Maybe there's someone you already know who could do with some extra calls or work or leads or jobs or cases. Don't worry so much about the business name on the landing page. The most important copy is a relevant headline. Need a blacksmith in Dublin? Looking for a carpet cleaner in Bristol? Hi Andy, awesome thread. I love the idea of local lead generation. After doing some research on Keyword Planner, CPC is off the charts for city name, plumber, etc. Do you address how to get lower CPC for whatever niche you are going after? Sent from my iPhone using TaperTalk. Run ads and find out what CPC you'd pay for a given bid price. Go long tail and granular and see if you can find lower CPC search terms. Be super relevant with your ad so you get a good center and rewarded with a higher QS and lower CPC. Thanks for sharing this interview. I might have missed the part where you get the initial lead which you can give away for free when you cold call a potential client. How do you acquire this initial lead to give away? Do you have your own website where you gather leads for business plus location? Contrarian talks about it at the start of the call. He created an ugly Wix page and sent visitors via Google paid search ads. I don't remember if this was discussed in the call. Was his Wix page branded as a lead gen site looking for ABC in XYZ? Or was it branded with the company's branding, the one he wanted to grab as a client? I guess it wasn't branded with a specific company because I think he found a company after getting the lead. Also, I believe you didn't pursue this business, or not in this vertical. How did it go after we had our call, guys? Thank you so much for the value you bring to the community. Reading those posts changed my whole mindset, really. Andy's posts are like a whole thesis on the subject. So to get this straight, 1. Create landing page without a brand name, in a specific niche, plumbers, doctors, lawyers, funeral services etc. to get leads. 2. Leads call you or contact you. 3. Then you try I.E to give a lead for free and acquire a customer, right? Very interesting stuff. I've been learning Facebook lead generation ads and really want to try this method, except with FB ads of course, because at this point I'm finding it difficult to give my services away for free. Thanks, Andy, for all the high-value posts. Is there anywhere I can see an example landing page for this type of project? Should there be a phone number on the landing page? Well, I've set up a very generic domain related to home services and am just figuring out how to collect and manage user contact info on the page. Hey Andy Black, when setting up a landing page, do you make up a company name to make it look legit? I'm racking my brain here trying to figure out how to build enough authority or credibility on my LP to actually get some own's contact details. I'm also wondering about things like fully licensed, insured and bondable technicians. Real companies say things like this, and presumably, I can too if I'm only sending leads to businesses with those qualifications. You're a genius. Noob question. How do you get to charge the client in subsequent leads generated for them? Pay-per-lead, fixed monthly recurring payment, or any other way? Yes. You can of course also find and sign up people and then build campaigns afterwards. I mostly still get new clients, customers, through inbound word of mouth. You don't need a company name. You could leave it out, or use the name of the website if it makes sense. Need a blacksmith in my city? Contact us now. MJ did pay-per-lead, I think. I prefer fixed monthly recurring payment at the moment. I've just re-listened to this and 2 years later I've managed to haphazardly grow and have lots of different clients in lots of different verticals, instead of focusing on a handful of verticals. I'm now refocused on focusing. Notes from Lead General Side Hustle Convo. Fixed monthly fees for leads. Super simple landing page. The client can add their billing details into the Google Ads account and pay the bill directly to Google. You or the client may own the Google Ads account. Alternatively, you can pay the Google Ads bill and charge it to the client, one way or another. Blue-collar guys especially could benefit from this. Greater than I'm thinking of either doing it for one, plumbers, because a friend of mine is a plumber and I feel like I can launch faster. 2 yard and landscape guys, because the coronavirus lockdown is causing homeowners to not want people coming in their house. 3 people in the senior care industry, because that's an industry I've been trying to get into. Whatever it is, make sure it's specific. So I would run an ad for landscaping and yard care companies in the San Fernando Valley. Greater than brings you to a very simple WordPress landing page that says at the top, "Are you looking for landscaping and yard care in the San Fernando Valley?" Greater than then below that say something like, "We're really good. Here's a link to our reviews. Contact us now." Greater than, and post my phone number. They call, I get the details, tell them someone will get in touch with them shortly. Then I call the service provider with that gift, and build from there. Don't build a company's website, and manage their digital marketing, because once it is all up and running, you're out the door having to start over brand new with someone else's website. This is more of the concept of building your own lead gen brand. You own the domain, not the person you're helping. The end client pays us through our client, so keep them happy. Loads of directories everywhere. They are not doing a great job with actually connecting people. Too focused on development. Stop overcomplicating it and losing sight on the objective. Greater than connecting the frustrated guy who really needs a plumber in the San Fernando Valley with a plumber in the San Fernando Valley. Become that frustrated guy online searching for a service provider. As soon as I post this, I'm gonna check out the search volume for plumbers, landscape or yard care, and senior care niches in the San Fernando Valley. Came up with the idea of having a call center take the info from the inbound calls, get details, then ring service providers. Do you do this? Are you in this area? Once they got that info, the CLL center tells the service provider, "Okay, we'll call you back within an hour to confirm the appointment." Greater than, and I'm assuming that's how you would scale something like this and get us clients under the one domain name and one contact number, right? Nobody wants to sign up to a directory. They want the leads. Only IT guys make directories. The providers want the phone calls. Directories are crap anyway. If you own a domain that you're sending visitors to, and these guys are paying you each month, then you can start ranking it, Facebooking it, and building the digital market. There are dangers in irrelevant things. Stick to your high ground. Don't go down the rabbit hole. How many times can I sell this? How many electricians would jump on this? Focus on what you have years into already. Launch. I'm lead by what's in front of me. Read the first 5 chapters of Again, focusing on helping people, not building stuff. Wherever there is a lot of competition, that means there's a market there. Greater than, ignore the competition. Black's sheer generosity, fortitude in just getting launched, and high regard for politeness is really quite something. The more I hear speak, the more I get this sense of just helping someone who already needs it, and just do it now. I listened to another recording before this yesterday and it really struck home that I fool myself into thinking I don't have. I came face to face with it yesterday when I caught myself coming up with an idea and my first thought was to get a book or finish a course. Then said, "You don't need that, you just need a customer." I say that to say, this recording really struck home the concept that says in about there is no step-by-step guide to entrepreneurship. And that is exactly what my scripted mental prison looks for. It wasn't until I listening to this recording for the second time that I caught myself trying to get to literally tell me step by step what to do. Critical path.